Hello, everybody. This is Allie Orwig from the Indiana Rural Health Association. We appreciate you joining us today. We've got an excellent presentation for you from Joe Ricker with Agribility. And before we get started with that, we are going to go over a couple quick housekeeping items. If you do have questions today, we are going to ask you to use either the chat or Q&A function during the presentation. You can find both of those by hovering your mouse at the bottom of the screen or top of the screen, depending on which view mode you're in. Or if you would like to wait till the end of the session, you can also use the raise hand function and we can unmute your line. You can ask that question directly. We are recording today's session, so if you're not able to join us for the entire time, or you would like to share it with one of your coworkers or someone else after the fact, this will be up on our YouTube channel by the end of the week, and you can view that and all of our other great lunch and learns and other educational opportunities there. So without further ado, Joe, I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Hey, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with everybody today. I'm Joe Ricker. I am a consultant with Purdue and the Agribility Project. I recently retired from the military in June of 2022. I have an orchard out in Wilkinson, Indiana, which is just south of Anderson, with about 250 apple trees and some beehives. So I'm a little bit between veteran and farmer. And so I think I can provide you at least a little bit of perspective and some information today on different opportunities for veterans in farming. So the first thing I'll talk about is Agribility. If you're not familiar with Agribility, it is a NIFA funded, USDA funded program with the national project out of Purdue. And we'll get into where it's located around the world shortly. So the vision or the mission of Agribility is to enhance or help farmers, ranchers, or those agricultural workers that have disabilities. Now, it's not necessarily, they didn't have to be born with them, or it could be due to accident or different reasons. But anybody who's got a physical challenge, Agribility is there and funded to help them get to the next level or continue on in agriculture, and help take away those obstacles that may block them to get in production. So Agribility is actually located in about 21 states right now. So you'll see from the map, we have 21 state projects. It changes a little bit every year. Some states drop off, some states get added. This year we added Florida and we dropped off California. We at the national project don't have any control over the states, although we coach and mentor them. And then we also provide coverage through the national program for those states that don't have projects. So any of the states, Montana, Wyoming, we provide kind of a phone consultation service or some direction on opportunities or areas in their states when they come to us for help. And we'll get into how you can contact Agribility in a little bit. So what do we serve? So we serve, a wide variety of physical conditions that are disabling in agriculture, but these aren't all the list of things. I can just look on it and think of a few things that we've helped with as well. But anything from amputation from born or farm accidents to mental or behavioral health problems, PTSD or traumatic brain injury, which are more common, I think, in veterans. And then other cases such as spina bifida or any other diseases that are born with. And it's really just to give that person the opportunity, or give that family, because really farming is a family venture, the opportunity to continue on in agriculture and to continue on in doing what their families have done for generations, even after an accident. So we have a couple pillars that we provide support through. So the first one is really direct assistance. So we'll go out to a farm where somebody's maybe experienced an injury or needs assistance, and we'll provide consultation services. We help a little bit with business planning, and business planning is very big for us when it comes to the veterans. A lot of veterans come off out of service and would like to get into farming and completely understand the business planning aspect, so we help direct them. Agribility is a resource enabler. We don't have funding to provide equipment or direct items, but we do have quite a bit of resources that we'll talk about that we can align people with to help them out, to include the state vocational rehab. So we also do some assistive technology support, and that's mainly, discussions. We have a great toolbox, I think is in a future slide that we'll talk about as well, where somebody with a physical disability, a veteran, or anybody can go to and look up, just ways of doing things. The toolbox is a great tool. I actually use it myself. I have some pretty arthritic arms and shoulders, so I'll go in there and just look up ways of gardening, and it's pretty interesting. If you look at farming and then you apply some of the concepts in orthopedics to it, and some of the ways that you can make it easier on your body, and then some of the larger ways that we get involved is an amputation of the right arm, when most tractors are made for a right arm, or right to use from your right arm. Some of that assisted technology, whether it's a lift or being able to move some of those gears or levers to the left for your left arm, it really enables and helps. We also do workshops. We have a veteran workshop we're doing June 6th through 8th in Indianapolis. We do regional and a national level workshop. I think you'll see in a later slide, we just got out of our national level workshop, was in March in Spokane, Washington. And then we're doing a regional workshop in Indianapolis, June 6th through 8th, down in south by the airport. So we have resources. Like I said, the toolbox is a great one. And then we do some online programming, quite a few webinars out there for specific areas such as arthritis, hearing, and other things out there to educate. A lot of networking. I'll tell you, with the veteran areas of networking, it's really getting that mentorship. I know a beekeeper that is out in California that is a double amputee of his legs, and he's been a great resource and for people to talk to. And sometimes it's just, how do you do things, right? So somebody with PTSD or TBI kind of thinks a little differently when it comes to a business plan, or needs support maybe when it comes through thinking through things, and we help provide them some of that networking opportunities as well. And then obviously we market a little bit as a USDA grant. We go out and we try to let people know of the opportunities with agribility, and any of the tools that we have or services that we can provide. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a great thing out there called the toolbox. The toolbox is a very nice ability to use a kind of a search engine to look up just tools that you might need because of a physical disability. They have lifters out there for, if you're a beekeeper, on how to lift hives. There's some resources on how to adjust steps, or how to add steps to tractors. Not everybody wants to come to the full blown, yeah, I'm going to go out and assess your farm, but may want to look at it and say, how do I do gardening a little easier with my arthritic shoulders? Or how do I, get past this physical challenge of carrying a bucket that might have, 20 pounds of water in it from point A to point B. And you'll see in there, using the search tools and the categories, much like Google, you can put in a word, arthritis, shoulders, and it'll come through with some great ideas for you. And then it links to potential vendors of that. And we're open to anybody. We do a board about once a week, review items for it, and we look to add items for it. And we make that very robust. The other opportunity in the toolbox is we do a little bit of international work as well. So somebody who's international can look in the toolbox as well and see some assisted technology solutions also. So as years progressed with agribility, it started out, strictly being people with physical challenges, getting into agriculture. And then it grew a little bit into opportunities for veterans farming. Obviously, there is a lot of veterans that come out of service with physical challenges. So we committed to helping military veterans, and we call it kind of their next mission. We're really wanting to get into beginning farming. A lot of veterans get out of service wanting to have some um, calmer lifestyle, some control of their own destiny, some experiences of their own. So we help with both those that want to be beginning farmers, or those with disabilities or functional limitations. Kind of that agri-therapy, we colloquially call it, to get past some of the things while they're going through more of a traditional therapy. Sometimes getting your hands dirty is kind of a good thing for them. So some of the benefits programs for veterans. So when we start talking about benefits programs, we talk a little bit about a program called Boots to Business. So when someone comes out of service, they're offered what's called Transition Assistance Program. The TAPS program, as the acronym, gives you opportunities to properly or to transition out of service. One of them is a what's called Boots to Business. A lot of people don't think of farming as a business, but it definitely is, especially if you want to make money and understand your budget and stuff. So the veterans are authorized to go through either Boots to Business or the Reboot program, which is put on by the Small Business Association through the Veteran Business Outreach Center. And it's really an entrepreneurship class form. We've worked with them heavily in the past few months to really get agriculture in there as a flavor for them. And then there's other programs outside of that. One of them is the Entrepreneurial Boot Camp for Veterans out of Syracuse. And then there is another program out of Mississippi State that helps veterans go beyond a 2-day seminar or workshop on, determining their business model to really get into business planning and the details there. That's actually also going to be we're going to do a 2-hour class on that at our workshop in June as well. So one of the other things with veterans in agriculture is the USDA has designated veterans as socially disadvantaged. Excuse me one sec, allergies are getting me today. So there is some benefit for veterans when it comes to some of the federal programs offered by the USDA. One of the things with beginning farmer loan is that you need to have 3 years of experience to be a beginning farmer. Sounds a little odd, but they want 3 years to make sure that they're investing in the right areas. One of those years is can count when it comes to your military service. A lot of veterans don't know that. USDA funds a program called Ag Vets that I'll talk in more detail on in a little bit. Natural Resource Conservation Service, the NRCS, has an EQIP program. A lot of veterans use that. I use that on my farm for a pollinator plot. A lot of veterans use it for what's called the high tunnel program. So if you're not familiar with agriculture, the high tunnel program is a program where you get kind of a hoop house, and that hoop house goes on your property, and NRCS does the cost sharing or cost matching on it. For the regular individual, I think it's around 75% this year. For a veteran, it's 90%. Now, one of the things I will caution veterans on is that it seems like every federal agency kind of defines veteran a little differently. USDA and some of their programs define a veteran as you have to have been out of service less than 10 years. The VA, you're always a veteran when you're a VA if you've been in service. But their benefits for the Veterans Administration is sometimes connected to you're being service connected. So you got to go through the process. You have to make sure that they understand when you've discharged and the documents you have. But USDA does have some great programs, and part of the beginning farmer program has a veteran percentage requirement on it as well. So there are programs out there to assist veterans in that area as well. There are nonprofits. One of them is the Farmers Veteran Coalition, and they have a program as a nonprofit called the Fellowship Fund. So veterans can apply for the Farmer Veteran Coalition Fellowship Fund, which is usually about $5,000 per individual. You put in an application with what your need is as a veteran. It's a competitive process, so not everybody gets it. You got to have a business plan, and it goes through the details on that. You have to certify that you're a veteran with them. And so the Farmers Veteran Coalition gives out about $5,000 increments to numerous veterans every year. They also have a program called Homegrown by Heroes. A lot of people in Indiana might be familiar with the Indiana Grown label. Homegrown by Heroes is a partnered label with Indiana Grown. So you can be Homegrown by Heroes, Indiana Grown. And that really just tells people when you're at a farmer's market or other opportunities to sell your product that it was grown by a veteran and it's been certified and it's been checked or certified by the USDA. There's another program that's really interesting called DoD Skill Bridge Program. That's how I kind of got involved with agribility. So the DoD, Department of Defense, has a program that allows you towards the end of your service to intern. You can intern on farms through a process if that farm is on the list and the service agrees to it. You can intern with nonprofits. I interned with agribility because I met agribility a few years prior, doing some of the agribility events here in Indiana. So I was a skill bridge intern with agribility, and we hope to get another one in November. So that service member, when they come out, can get a little bit of exposure to kind of the agriculture as well. And then again, there's a lot of local programs and nonprofits. One that we have here that we just started standing up at Veterans in Farming. There's a program called Hives for Heroes and Heroes for Hives. Heroes for Hives is a great program where they meant Heroes for Hives. Sorry, I have to get this straight. Heroes for Hives is run by Dr. Adam Ingrio out of Michigan, and he runs that as an online learning program for beekeeping, and they have partnered with Purdue to do some hands-on training for veterans in beekeeping. It's a great program. I highly recommend that. It is cyclic, so you sign up around the January, February timeframe, and then you take the course for a season when he walks you through kind of different things to see. There's a Hives for Heroes program, and that is a mentorship beekeeping program as well. And then you'll see nationwide, there are other programs like Arm to Farm under the National Conservatory NCAT, and I'm not going to pull that out of my head today. And then like at outside Fort Belvoir, one of the major installations for the Army, there's an Arcadia farm where it's an incubator farm for veterans. We have one as well out of Veterans in Farming that we started in Danville, Indiana, called Porter Farm. So you'll see just a lot of little opportunities for veterans through nonprofits and other local programs to get involved. And a lot of those are on the agribility website as well. So I'll get a little bit into Indiana Ag Vets. So Indiana Ag Vets is also USDA funded. Its point of contact is Linda Tarr. She's the program manager and she works for Hoosier Uplands. Hoosier Uplands is the nonprofit that executes it, partnered with agribility and numerous other organizations to really, touch that veteran and get them into farming or give them opportunities to get into farming. So it does a couple things. One is it enhances agricultural opportunities for veterans, hence the term Ag Vets. Ag Vets is a nationwide program. Different states have different opportunities and apply the grants in different ways. It's really meant to support the veteran and tie them to agriculture if they want to be through a whole plethora of different opportunities for them. As I said earlier, it is really based with Hoosier Uplands. Purdue University helps out quite a bit through their extension programs. Indiana is very involved in the Indiana Ag Vet program, and then Washington State University. And there's the grant number and the sponsors. And as you can tell from the grant number, it's going to be re-upped hopefully in August. They reapply for it with that grant. So who's really eligible for the Indiana Ag Vet? Excuse me one second. It is any veteran, National Guard, Reserves. You'll even see Space Force and Coast Guard, which is sometimes a little bit of a discussion whether or not they're a veteran. But in essence, it's anybody in Indiana and or the surrounding states. So we also help out in Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, and Kentucky as well. And then National Guard reserves, you can still be in service and or out of service or reservist. It ties together, in a nice way, the mentorship, the agricultural and training, and then throws in there an opportunity for an internship experience. So to start with the training portion of it, so you can ask ag vets, and I have, as an example, gone through ag vets as a veteran and used it for the Extension Master Gardener program. So I am currently in the Extension Master Gardener program. I know people that have taken the drone course to learn about drones and agriculture. A lot of people do the food service courses to certify you as a safe food handler. There's the pesticide application course. So ag vets will help that veteran both find the course and then help them pay for the course. So a lot of times a veteran will leave service. We don't get a lot of money or a lot of opportunity to use any of our benefits on workshops. So this is mainly workshop level or engagement level, not as much, I'm going to get a degree or out of it, but mainly what are those tools that I need to be in the agriculture community. So then next we start to partner up ag vets with job coaching and mentorship. So farms will come to us and say, hey, we'd like to help a veteran. So we put them on a list, and then a veteran will call up and say, hey, I'd like to learn about, how to run an orchard. So Tuttle's Orchard is a very large orchard in the region where I'm at. And they agreed to let me do a couple days there to learn about orchard work and other things. Normally the relationship can be as the intern can have up to 400 hours authorized, and they get stipend about $15 an hour to do that. So it's a benefit to the farm to learn how to, do the tasks like the orchard work, or to, manage cows, or how to, manage bison. A lot of exciting opportunities in agriculture for veterans in Indiana. And then on top of that, the host mentor does get to do not only the mentorship, but gets a little bit of assistance. And then we tie that all with agribility when it comes to maybe that veteran needing some sort of adaptive device to be able to work in that environment. So the internships are paid stipends, like I mentioned. They can go really any place, from specialty farms, livestock, grains. I know a few people have done beekeeping as well. They can do any type of agribusiness, nurseries, turfs, really anything in agriculture, and we provide as much flexibility as we can to do that. And then some Purdue agriculture centers have partnerships, and then of course, like Tuttle's Orchards, sometimes it's more of an agribusiness. One of the benefits I think we've captured in Indiana is that some states have it at one site that they approve for it, and it's very difficult for a veteran that may be coming from 2 hours away to continually get there and get the hands-on opportunities day after day without incurring some hardship. In Indiana, because we have so many sites and we've coordinated so many sites, it really gives that opportunity for the veteran to really get something sometimes more local. And we're always open if the veteran says, hey, this guy down the road from me said he would take me, to try to work out and make sure that they get a great experience that way as well. So you'll see the catacomb of partnerships. We've talked to veteran service organizations. We've gone out to other Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs. I sometimes help with the Ag Vet program, and we'll go to an event Senator Brown puts on for veterans about once a month, and just really advertise it and let veterans know that opportunity is out there. I'm a firm believer that veterans want to find something that they can control, that is helpful to them when they get out of service. Not everybody wants to take their skills from the Army and go to Google or Microsoft. Some people just want that agri-therapy of getting your hands dirty and And I think that's the right experience for a lot of veterans. So we really try to support that. So a couple of the other areas that we can discuss are, I'm just checking on time, is that we're partnering with the VA. We're working with the VA to try to establish a national partnership with them. The VA is a challenge at times to really coordinate with. It's very much a localized entity. And we're trying to work with the Agribility at the national VA level to really establish a program where veterans can, reach out and find opportunities in agriculture. A lot of the VFWs reach out and say, hey, we'd love to have a little small farm here and we have some land. So we try to coordinate with that as well, where it may be a nonprofit like the VFW, just offering ideas or space to veterans. As I said earlier, there's many beekeeping opportunities. We just Ag Vets just hosted one with Addie's Orchard, a nonprofit out in Rockville this weekend. I think it was a great success. We've probably hopefully gotten a lot of veterans into beekeeping. That combined, and it's all about a combination approach or a partnership approach, that combined with those veterans taking the Heroes for Hives, Dr. Ingrio's online program, it all just ties together nicely, and the veterans have that. We also do what's called Operation Groundwork. That's another nonprofit, not under Agribility or Purdue, but a nonprofit that helps veterans. That we have an incubator farm in Danville, Indiana, and we're starting to stand up an incubator farm as well in Anderson. And so those incubator farms are just opportunities to either live on or visit, where veterans can go on and learn about agriculture or opportunities like the NRCS high tunnel program, or how do you plant a row crop, or things like that. So we do work with some of the farm stress programs. Agribility has a lady that works with us for farm stress, and then we also look at the VA for what they call suicide prevention programs, because farming is a stressful program. And so we're trying to tie that to make sure that everything works out for that veteran to be successful. There's a program out there called VA Farms. VA Farms is government funded, where it was to see if farms on VA property would assist with therapeutic values for veterans. I think that's still ongoing. It's probably in about 5 locations now, and hopefully that comes out with some positive results, where we may see some growth in the VA areas for farming as well. We just held our national training workshop in Spokane, Washington. It was a great success. I think we had about 70 veterans there, which I think is wonderful. Those 70 veteran and farmers, had the opportunity to speak with Agribility staff. It's also a great opportunity for Agribility staff to not only learn about the plethora of clients that Agribility supports, but also for us to, take input on the challenges they experience getting into agriculture. Again, it's not only veterans for Agribility, but it's also clients with physical challenges, really just trying to get them to that next level and continue on in farming, that we all know is needed to get food on the table in many places. And then lastly, we are hosting in June, excuse me one sec. We are hosting in June a regional training workshop here in Indianapolis that's going to be focused on veterans. So June 6th through the 8th, there is a regional workshop. If you Google agribility.org and you go under our events or training opportunities, you'll see that there is a workshop. We hope to have some business planning there. We'll have some discussions on veterans with physical challenges. We'll also talk a little bit about marketing and other areas. So really, again, I think it's going to be a great event. If you are a veteran, part of that Indiana Ag Vet grant does stipend attendance to things like that. We stipend, I think, about 11 out of Indiana Ag Vets to go to the Agribility National Training Workshop. Hopefully we stipend more to go to the regional event at the Hilton Garden Inn in Indianapolis Airport. Hopefully Indiana Ag Vets, and hopefully we see a lot of veterans there and give them opportunities or knowledge and enable them to get into agriculture. So lastly, and I'll open it for any questions or comments from the group, is my information. I am always open to an email. Again, my name is Joe Ricker, no relationship to the gas stations. Um, since I'm a consultant with Purdue, my email is ricker2@purdue.edu, where you can always just pick up the phone and call me at that number there. I'm always happy to have a conversation and help any person with a physical challenge to continue on in agriculture and or get a veteran into agriculture if that's where they feel they need to be after being in service and giving to our country for so much of their life. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak today. It was a pleasure. Hopefully I can answer some questions or help out in the future in any way. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. That was very informative. I had no idea that there was such a program out there. So that's excellent. We haven't had any questions come in yet. If anybody out there has a question, again, you can ask that by hovering your mouse over the screen, either at the top or the bottom. Some options will pop up depending on which view mode you're in. You can use Q&A or chat if you'd like to type your question, and you can use the raise hand function if you would like to ask your question verbally. So we'll go ahead and give it just a second, see if any more questions come in. And obviously Joe has provided his contact information, and I'm sure would love to hear anybody that has additional questions after the fact to reach out at that point too. I'm not seeing any come in. We'll go ahead and hold the line open for just a moment for any more questions to come in. But we just want to thank everybody for their time today. Joe, your time and presentation, again, extremely informative about a program that I'm not sure a lot of people know about. So we are so happy that you were able to be with us today. Thank you to everybody that attended and helped put the session on. Again, this recording will be up on our YouTube channel by the end of the week.